Good afternoon, and welcome to the National Press Club, the place where news happens. I'm Allison Fitzgerald Kojak. I'm the 112th president of the National Press Club, and I'm a correspondent at NPR News. We are so pleased to welcome today our headliner's speaker, Larry Kudlow, the leader of President Trump's National Economic Council. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you all to please take a moment and turn off your cell phones. As you can see, there are a lot of cameras in the room. We'd hate to have your phones ringing in the middle of it. And I'd like to draw your attention. There should be question cards on your tables. If you have questions for our speaker, please write them on the cards and pass them up to the head table. They will get to me. And if you're tweeting about today's event, we are at Press Club DC, and the hashtag for today's event is NPC Live. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce our head table guests. Please hold your applause until all of the people have been introduced. To my far left, we have Andrea Edney, the immediate past president of the National Press Club. Next to Andrea, we have Mushfiqul Fazal, editor of Just News BD from Bangladesh. Mark Sheff, the senior reporter at Investment News. Susan Varga, the chief of staff at the National Economic Council. To my left is Donna Lainwan-Leger, former NPC president and co-chair of the NPC Headliners team, which organized today's event. Skipping over the podium, to my right, we have Kevin Wensing. He's a retired U.S. Navy captain, chair of FCA America, and the NPC member who arranged today's event. Thank you, Kevin. Skipping over our speaker for a moment, we have Kimberly Adams. She's a senior reporter at Marketplace and a member of the Board of Governors of the National Press Club. And Mark Hamrick, to Kimberly's right, a Washington bureau chief and senior economic analyst at Bankrate.com, and also a former president of the National Press Club. This is a powerful table here. Emel Akan is a White House economic policy reporter for the Epoch Times. And at the far end of the table, Frank Islam, chair of EL Investment Group. Thank you very much, everybody. Now, the good news for Larry Kudlow was that he arrived at the White House in the midst of one of the country's longest economic expansions. It approached 10 years. The economy is humming along, with GDP growth last year at a healthy 3%. The unemployment rate is at historic lows, and wages are rising. But arriving at the top can create challenges. How long will the good news last? Mr. Kudlow and the White House are forecasting robust economic growth through the next few years. He told Fox News last week that President Trump's tax cuts saved the average American about $2,300 last year, and that Trump's policies are, quote, rebuilding the economy. But the outlook of most economists isn't so rosy. According to my colleagues at NPR and to Bloomberg News, many economists project economic growth this year will be markedly slower than in 2018 because of the effects of trade policies, slowing global growth, and a tight labor market. Larry Kudlow began his career as a financial analyst at the Federal Reserve before heading to Wall Street as an analyst at Paine Webber and Bear Stearns. He served in the Reagan administration, helping to shape the budget and tax policy, and before he took a second tour on Wall Street. Mr. Kudlow is also a media personality, a former host of CNBC's The Kudlow Report, and a host of WABC radio show, and a contributing editor at the National Review. He's the author of several books, including JFK and the Reagan Revolution, A Secret History of American Prosperity, in which he explores the similarities between the economic policies of those two presidents. When Mr. Kudlow joined the Trump administration, observers were quick to seize on his long public record advocating free trade and inclusive immigration reform, which is in stark contrast to the views of President Trump. In response, the president said, quote, "We don't agree on everything, but in this case, I think that's good. I want to have divergent opinions." Please join me in giving a warm National Press Club welcome